Okay, welcome back, guys, to the Andrei Delic podcast. So, guys, today I'm here with the GOAT, Lionel Messi. You guys know how much of a fanboy I am. I have the Messi jersey right now here. And, of course, this episode was supposed to be a reality check. It's still going to be a reality check. But, fuck it, I'm going to talk a little bit about soccer. There's a Champions League final coming up this Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. As you guys know, for football fans, it's going to be PSG against Internazionale Milan. Like I said, I want PSG to win. If I had to make a prediction, I predict that PSG are going to win. First of all, because of the way they play, I prefer than Inter style. They're more offensive, more creative, more magical, more technical than Inter. Inter are more like defensive style football. They defend more and whatever. So, of course, I want PSG to win. Like, I'm rooting for PSG. But the main reason that I'm rooting for PSG is, first of all, because of Lucho Enrique. For people who know football a lot, he was the manager for Barca 2015 when they won the Champions League with Messi, Neymar, all those players. So, of course, Lucho Enrique is my favorite manager of all time, in my opinion. Him. I like Zidane also. I like Pep Guardiola, but Lucho Enrique is my favorite manager of all time. So that's why I want PSG to win. But also, guys, PSG fans, PSG players, PSG coach and staff, if you guys win the Champions League, I don't give a fuck. I know he's not playing for PSG anymore. He used to play for PSG, but still, if you guys win the fucking Champions League, you guys better take that Champions League trophy and give it to Messi in Miami. Go all the way to Miami. Don't be cheap. You know you can pay that fucking plane ticket. Don't be fucking cheap. You guys make millions of fucking dollars. Your owners are rich oil Arabs from Saudi Arabia or Qatar, I don't know where, but they're rich. You have rich owners. Pay that fucking plane ticket. Go all the way to Miami. Meet Messi and say, Messi, you know what? We won the Champions League. Yes, PSG, we won the Champions League. But since you're the greatest player of all time and you're the greatest player to ever wear a PSG jersey, here you go, the trophy. And not only because of that, but also, I mean, you're the GOAT of football. You are football, in other words, you are football. It is how it is. So, guys, if you guys win the Champions League, it's thanks to Messi. I don't know how. It's just thanks to Messi. He deserves all the praise. He's the best player that ever played for PSG to ever wear a PSG jersey. I already said it. Don't have to say it again, but it's a fucking fact. Again, let me make a message to the PSG fans who are booing Messi. I mean, are you out of your fucking minds? Do you guys know who Messi is? He's bigger than your club. Lionel Andres Messi Cusitini is bigger than the PSG club. He's not bigger than soccer, than football in general. He's not bigger than FIFA. But Messi is bigger than PSG. What the fuck? I mean, PSG, no disrespect. Like I said, I want them to win the Champions League, and I hope they win the Champions League. But if we're being honest, PSG is not a historical club. It isn't. They have 0 Champions League. Hopefully, they'll have one this Saturday. But right now, we're the 28th of May, so the game isn't played yet. So far, on 2025, 28th of May, they have 0 Champions League. So they're not a historical club in Europe and in the entirety of football. Messi has won everything. He's the greatest player of all time, the most accomplished player of all time, the best player ability-wise, footballing ability-wise, talent-wise, whatever. So that's what I mean when I say that Messi, Lionel Andres Messi, is bigger than PSG. He is. It's a fact. PSG fans, people from Paris, je vais vous le dire en français, fâchez-vous autant vous voulez, Messi est plus gros que votre club. Juste Messi, en tant qu'individu, en tant que joueur, il est plus gros que tout votre club, PSG. Plus gros que... Même, je suis prêt à dire qu'il est plus gros que votre ville. Paris. Messi est plus gros que Paris. Crois-moi, il y a plus de aura que Paris. Messi, il y a plus de aura que Paris. It is what it is, guys. PSG fans, come after me all you want. It's a fact. But Messi... What a good-looking guy, man. Wow, man. This guy, man. Wow, man. I love you, bro. I love this guy, man. The GOAT. No debating it. Let me say one last time. PSG, if you win the Champions League, give it to Messi. Because before Messi, your club was nothing. It's still nothing. Maybe you'll win the Champions League. But Messi augmented your club so much, brought so much aura to your club. And just the fact that Messi chose to play at PSG... The fact that Messi decided to wear a PSG jersey, you guys should be sending him thank emails to thank him every single day. I don't know, man. Send him, make a statue in front of the PSG stadium, in front of the Parc des Princes stadium. Make a statue, because you'll never ever have a better player play for your club than Lionel Andres Messi. There will never ever be a better player in the history of football than Lionel Andres Messi. Just the fact that he played for you guys for 2-3 seasons, he should have a statue in front of the Parc des Princes. Actually, every single club, this is a PSA to every single club that Messi played at, so Barca, PSG, and now Inter Miami. Every single club should have a Lionel Andres Messi statue in front of their stadium. Every single club that Messi played for should have a Lionel Andres Messi statue in front of them. And every stadium that Messi played in, even if he didn't play for that specific club, but every stadium that Messi stepped foot inside and played on their pitch, there should maybe not be a statue, but there should be like a painting or a picture of him somewhere in the stadium to thank him for playing in your stadium. That's who Lionel Andres fucking Messi is, man. That's who he is. So thanks for everything, guys. Now, like I said, it's supposed to be a reality check. I also have some football content I want to touch a little bit on before the Champions League final. Let's see how much time I have, where it takes us, but let's jump right into it. So reality check number 16. So let's jump right into politics, American politics. So I don't know if, for people who don't know, recently the South African president visited Donald Trump in the White House. And then Donald Trump blindsided him, I can say, with a video on a television showing him that people in his government, in the South African government, talking about wanting to kill white people and specifically white farmers. Breaking news, after South African president denies claims of genocide of white farmers, President Trump brings a TV into the Oval Office in front of the South African president and shows him a video of his own government calling for the genocide of white farmers. And the Hodgett twins, who are two guys who like have a podcast, they're very right-winged, very conservative, and they wrote this post, and they say, this is what I voted for. So Trump, in my opinion, now I understand what he did. I mean, any genocide, if it's against black people, white people, any sort of genocide is inhumane, shouldn't exist, and shouldn't be happening. So I'm always against people talking against genocides and people talking against people who are producing genocides. So of course, now maybe what he did wasn't the most professional thing to do, because at the end of the day, he is the president of the United States. He has an image. He has a symbol to maintain. He has an image to maintain. So maybe it's not the most professional thing he did. Maybe he could have done it in a more professional way. I'm pretty sure if it was still Barack Obama, the president, he would have done it in a more professional and symbolic and professional way. But Trump, being the loudmouth he is, being the streetwise guy he is, he's more street smart than book smart. So of course, he did it a little bit more gangster, which Donald Trump is like a gangster politician. He fucking brought a television. He played it in front of the South African president after him denying claims of there being a genocide towards white farmers in South Africa. That was a boss move, I'm not gonna lie. As a young guy who's 24 years old, when I watched that, I'm like, that's fucking G, that's a top G move. But if I look at it more like a politician, more political, it's maybe not the smartest way to do it. It's maybe not the most professional way to do it, but hey, the message was sent. The South African president, I saw the video, he was very, like, not shy, but he felt very uncomfortable after Trump showed him the video, which I don't blame him, man. I understand. I felt a little bit bad, man, for the South African president. You could see him, like, he was sitting in the sofa and he felt like really uncomfortable. He was really like, he wasn't in a good place, like mentally no more after he showed him the video. But hey, whenever there's a genocide, we have to talk against it because it's never good. Whichever type of genocide, it's always bad. It should never be happening, and it should never be happening in the future. But Trump's move was a boss move. And I mean, what he did, 80% of people who voted for Republican or for Trump, they're very fucking happy that he did that. The other 20%, they're like, yes, I voted for him, but maybe the way he did it, just like I'm saying, they're like, maybe should have been done more professionally. But 80% of his voters, man, are fucking happy that he did that. They're proud of him and they love it. And Trump's here to please the American citizen, and more specifically to please his voters, because at the end of the day, without his voters, he wouldn't be in power. He wouldn't be the president of the United States. Okay, so guys, whenever I talk with my friends And then before we go out, and when we go out, let's say my friends who are single, who are in search to find a girl for a one-night stand. Now, of course, I have many types of friends. Some of my friends play more the victim card. Oh my God, it's so hard to get a girl for a one-night stand. They keep denying me. Why can't they make it more easy? And then, of course, I also have friends who aren't like that. They're more like top Gs, like myself, not to boast. But we don't give a fuck. If we get rejected, we don't care. We keep going. We understand how it is. We understand that's the game. That's the nature of the game. But it is how it is. But to my friends, or to just anyone in general who victimizes himself from getting rejected or from finding it hard to find a one-night stand or whatever, just gotta understand that there's one thing you gotta understand, it will make your life way more easier, and it will make you, it will be way easier for you to accept rejection or failure after you hear what I have to say. So women have a lot to lose, have way more to lose regarding one-night stands than men. They have way more to lose in one-night stands than men. First of all, just biologically speaking, they can get an unwanted pregnancy. At the end of the day, we men, we cannot get pregnant. Even if we have a one-night stand, we have fun with a girl, we didn't use protection, we forgot to put protection, we forgot to pull out or whatever, and we come inside, and then fast forward a couple of weeks later, the girl is pregnant. At the end of the day, she's the one pregnant. You're not pregnant. Yes, that's your kid. You're going to have to pay child support or whatever, but you're not the one carrying a baby. You're not the one carrying the child, and you're not pregnant. It's just biological. It's a fact. It's just a fucking fact. So that inside of them, it's wired biologically to be more cautious of one-night stands than for men. We men, we don't give a fuck. If we have a one-night stand, if we use protection, we'll just be out of that bitch, and we won't get so emotionally attached as much as a woman can in a one-night stand. So there's the biological fact that they're biologically wired to be more cautious of one-night stands and who they sleep with than we as men. We men in general, we just want to sleep with the most women as possible and the best-looking woman as possible. Then after, of course, you settle down, you find a wife, you have kids with her, you form a family. But in your hunting phase, if I can put it like that, in every man's hunting phase, if he ever had one, I have some friends or I know some people who never in their lives had a hunting phase. They found one girlfriend when they were like 14, 15, and they're still with that one girl. He only has one kill, she only has one kill, and they're together now for like 9-10 years, and they're probably gonna get married, have a family, have kids, whatever, and they're probably gonna live the rest of their lives with only one kill each. And I mean, there's nothing wrong there, each to his own. But when it comes to one-night stands, like I said, women have way more to lose. Firstly, they can get pregnant. Men don't get pregnant. Second of all, they can get labeled as a slut whore, as a town whore, especially if it's a smaller city. Gatineau, in my opinion, it's not as big as, I'd say, Montreal, but it's not a village. It's like, in my opinion, Gatineau is a mix between a village and a city. It's like a mix, but in Gatineau, it can happen that people know you more, like you're more easily recognizable. So a woman, first of all, biological reasons, she can get pregnant. Second of all, she can get labeled as a town whore, as a slut, because let's not lie, but when a girl sleeps with a guy, it's more like negative than when a guy sleeps with a girl, right? When a guy gets a girl, when he conquers a girl, now feminists don't come after me, I'm not Andrew Tate, I'm just saying, like, that's how men talk. When a man conquers a girl and he sleeps with her for a one-night stand, guys will only praise him, right? It's a fact, man. Come on. I'm not saying I'm not saying that it's good or that's how it should be, but that it is what it is. And when a girl sleeps with a guy and that guy has no intention of being in a relationship with her or getting married to her or whatever, it's more negative, right? Someone will say, oh, she's a whore, she's easy to get, whatever. So that's negative. So biological reasons, social reasons, social setting reasons, your identity, social identity reasons. And also, I mean, this also goes for guys, STDs. Maybe women are a little bit more cautious when it comes to STDs than men. Men tend to give less of a fuck just regarding everything when it comes to sex. We're just more animal. We're more of a beast when it comes to sex. But I think that mostly it's because of unwanted pregnancy. They get pregnant, men don't. And your social identity, you getting labeled as a slut or getting labeled as a girl who's easy to get or whatever. Like I said, feminists women, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, I'm not saying that I call them sluts. I'm saying that in general, some men would see her like that after she did a certain act, like having a one-night stand after just meeting the guy at a bar or at a nightclub or at a restaurant or a social setting, a party, a house party, whatever. I'm just saying in general, that's how it is. So I feel like it's wired inside of women, biologically speaking, for hundreds of thousands of years, that they're just going to be more cautious when it comes to sex and who they have sex with, especially because of biology, unwanted pregnancy, and social environment. And also, I mean, it's just new now with social media, and especially with social media, with the internet, that nowadays we know like more people than people before knew. Like biologically speaking, we're wired to just know a couple of hundred people in our lives, and then we die. Like throughout our entire lives, we're supposed to, like, genetically speaking, all live in little villages. And you just know, like, you see like 100 faces in your lifetime. You find a wife, you have kids, and then you die. Biologically speaking, like hundreds, thousands of years ago, that's how man lived. That's how people lived. You lived in a little village with 100 more people. You only saw those people. You only knew those people. You only had relationships with those people, sexual or whatever. You only had fun with those people. They were your only friends. You lived, you reproduced, and you died for that little village. And that was your life after like 50, 60 years of living. But now, of course, we're not in a hunter-gatherer environment anymore. Also with social media, you can have like thousands and thousands of followers and you have no fucking idea who they are. You can network with so many people around the globe, around the world, that you'll probably never ever see in your life, but you can literally do business with them. You can meet so many people through social media, through dating apps. So nowadays it's a bit different, but biologically speaking, it remains inside of us. We're social beings, we're social creatures. That's also maybe why social anxiety is at a higher rate than it was before, because now with social media, you feel like anyone in the world can see you. That's why we're more like, that affects our fears, which are biologically ingrained inside of us to be like more fearful of big social settings. That's why we stayed in little villages when we were hunter-gatherers and whatever. But that's inside of us biologically. And so yeah, that was pretty much it for why. And I hope that guys who play the victim card, because I don't know why you would play the victim card. I mean, you know what your intentions are, right? When you find a girl at the bar and you just want to have one night stand, you understand what your intentions are. You just want to have sex. You just want to have a relationship, sexual relationship with her that night, and then it's over. And also, men and women don't treat sex the same way. We treat it more as something fun, as something physically fun. Women treat it more with emotions. Not every woman. Some women just love sex. Some women are addicted to sex, just like some other guys. But in general, from my experience and from my thoughts, in general, I feel like women, when it comes to sex, they're more emotional. They're more all in their emotions when it comes to sex, and men are more about physical pleasure. I mean, that's how I feel it is. I think it's for many biological reasons, like I explained, but it is what it is. So guys, don't get all bummed out when you get rejected. You got to understand, you got to look at it from her perspective. You got to put yourself in her position, in her shoes. Imagine you're a girl, imagine your daughter, imagine you have a daughter and some guy goes and sees her at the bar and only wants to have sex with her, and you know that your daughter is like more emotional, she doesn't see sex that way. You would be really fucking pissed off and you would tell your daughter, don't have sex with him. And then if she grows up like that, she's always going to remember, oh, my dad told me that all guys just want to have sex with me. They don't give a fuck about my feelings. I see sex like with feelings, with emotions. So of course, even if she's like, oh my God, I really find him attractive and I would really like to be in a relationship with him, deep down she can also think, oh, he just wants to have sex with me, so I'm not gonna let him. So guys, don't take your L's so personal. It is what it is. If you're not good at taking L's when it comes to wanting to have one night stands with girls or whatever, then maybe the game isn't made for you. Some people are married to the game, like Future said. Some people don't give a fuck about taking L's, and they just love the chase, they love the game, and maybe you're not built for it. Not everyone is built to have a lot of one-night stands, whatever. I feel like some people are built to just have one girlfriend, and they're more like emotional, more sensitive, so they're more in search of or seeking relationships. But guys who are in search of one-night stands, I feel like they don't even need this message. I feel like they just know it. Like they just know it already, that they don't take it personally, and they know that it's a numbers game, that the more you approach, the more chances you have of sealing the deal. But for guys who want to become like big fuckboys or whatever, don't take it personal, because if you take it personal, you're going to quit after 2-3 rejections, 2-3 no's, and you're not going to get the results that you want to get. So let's jump into the other one. Okay, so guys, as you guys know, I'm an ethnic minority. In Canada, I am considered an ethnic minority. To be considered an ethnic minority in Canada, what needs to happen is, if your mother tongue isn't English or French, mine is Serbian, of course, as you guys know. If your mother tongue isn't English or French, you're considered an ethnic minority. Now, I said ethnic minority. I'm not a racial minority because I'm white, but I am an ethnic minority. So minorities, don't come after me for what I'm about to say. I am one of you guys, but I got to say it how it is. So I wrote a tweet once, as you guys know, before in the past, I used to write a lot of tweets. Now I don't really write tweets because I say it all on podcasts in front of a camera. And I don't know, I just maybe I got bored of writing tweets. I don't know, but I used to write a lot of tweets. And one of my tweets went like this: most minorities aren't morality fighters or justice seekers, because most of them only fight and stand up when something happens to their own group. Ethnic, sexual orientation, gender, etc. When something happens to another group that they have no relation to, they don't care. Deep down, 99% of minorities are only angry that their group are the minorities, and they wish for their group to be the majority. There are exceptions, though, who see the bigger picture and fight for the whole of humanity, not just for their group. I am one of them, AD for PM. As you guys know, I used to fuck around a lot with AD for PM, Andrei Delic for Prime Minister. I was, of course, I mean, if you really thought that me at 24, 23 wanted to be a Prime Minister, I mean, you're kind of naive, bro. I mean, it was purely for jokes. But let me dissect this tweet, because it's the truth. Most minorities, if I might add, most, like 99% of people in general, only care for their group and what happens to their group. But in general, if you're part of the majority, so if you're a straight white man, if you're a Christian, all of that, you're less likely to be a more morality fighter or a justice fighter or a justice seeker, whatever, because your group, you don't live injustices really, so you don't really give a fuck about it. But that just proves my point that when something doesn't happen to you or to a group that you feel a part of, you don't give a fuck. So even when it comes to majority, white, Christian, Westerners, straight white men, even then you don't give a fuck what happens to someone else's group, because you're like, it's not happening to me. But there are some people who see the bigger picture and like, yes, I understand I'm not part of their group, but at the end of the day, we're all human beings and we should all help each other. Like Martin Luther King once said, when injustice happens to one group, it happens to the whole of humanity. Something of that sort. I paraphrased him more than I quoted him, but that's what he said. So this doesn't only go for minorities, but since minorities are more justice seekers because more shit happens to their group, that's why I'm talking more to them. But also when it comes to the majority, straight white man, Christian, Canadian, whatever, they don't give a fuck because it's not happening to their group. But like I said, there are some people who see the bigger picture and just want to rest. And also minorities, let's say Black Lives Matter. Of course, I am all for the cause. Now, I don't want to promote their organization because I heard they did a lot of corruption, whatever. So I don't give a fuck about the organization, BLM. But the cause, of course, I'm going to be for it. Anyone who's rational and who's a healthy human being is going to be for the cause. But I feel like many of those guys who went to BLM protests, they wouldn't give a fuck what's happening to the LGBTQ community. They don't give a fuck. Why? Because they're not a part of it. So they won't give a fuck. They won't give a fuck what's happening in Serbia. They don't give a fuck what's happening in Palestine, in Israel. They don't care, right? Because it's not their group. Most of them. Now, of course, some of them will be justice seekers for the whole of humanity, but 99% of them won't, because they won't give a fuck. And that's okay. That's human nature, but don't be like, put things into perspective. Just as much as someone who's from Palestine won't give a fuck about BLM because he's not black and he doesn't give a fuck about that movement. But you'll hear him cry about, oh, life's not fair. Look at what's happening in Palestine. It isn't fair, and that shouldn't be happening. Peace should be in the entire world. There should be peace. But at the end of the day, when something happens to another group, you don't give a fuck. So you shouldn't be labeling yourself as a morality fighter or a justice fighter or a justice seeker if you only care what happens to your own group. But when something happens to another group, who even though maybe they're not the same color as you, they're not the same race, they're not the same religious group or sexual orientation, whatever, they remain human beings just like you. So you should care what happens to them because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. But my point is that if you can be a minority and be a moral fighter, but if something happens and you only care what happens to your group, you're not a morality fighter and you're not this woke justice seeker. You're not Martin Luther King. You're not Nelson Mandela. You're just a normal human being who only cares what happens to his group. So that was my only point. My only point was that one. Okay, so guys, as you guys know, football 2026 World Cup is coming to North America, right? Canada, United States, Mexico. There's going to be the World Cup in 2026. And then, of course, I follow many podcasts, sports podcasts, soccer podcasts, football podcasts. I mostly follow soccer only, football, European football. I watch maybe basketball here and there because of Doncic, Jokic, of course, all of those players. And I love basketball, right? New York Knicks, that's my team. I hope they win. Right now, they're losing 3-1. But to get back to my point, I follow many soccer podcasts. And then you hear many Americans, many Europeans, mostly North Americans saying that with this World Cup, and my brother thinks the same, Luca, shout out Luca, he thinks the same. He thinks that this World Cup will change soccer and football image in North America. I think the opposite. I think that it won't really have an effect. People will only care when the World Cup is happening. While it's happening, the 1 month that it is happening is going to be crazy media coverage and it's going to be mayhem in North America regarding the World Cup. Yes, but the day the World Cup ends, the following day, no one in North America is going to give a fuck anymore about soccer, football. No one. And that's a fact. I mean, that's my prediction. Maybe I'm wrong, but if I look at past events, the World Cup, it's not the first time that there's going to be a World Cup in America. There was already once a World Cup in 1991? 1999. No, in 1992, right? In 1992, the World Cup was in was it 1992? I'm not sure. Let me ChatGPT that. Yo, ChatGPT, bro, what a tool, man. Real shit. Yo, Chinese people, what a tool, ChatGPT, man. I ain't gonna lie, bro. When was the World Cup in America? $1994. Yeah, so I was right. The FIFA World Cup has been held in the United States on the following occasions. Men's World Cup, 1994. The United States hosted the FIFA Men's World Cup from June 17th to July 17th. Of course, 1 month, 1994. It was the first time the tournament was held in the U.S. And it set a record for highest average attendance per match. A record that still stands, of course. But fast forward 30 years, 2025, so 31 years, 1994. Is there a big change in football in North American culture? There isn't. They had 31 years to make a big drastic change. There wasn't one. It ended in July 17, 1994. July 18th, 1994, they didn't give a fuck about soccer anymore. Football, European football, soccer, however you call it. July 18th, 1994, America and North America didn't give a fuck about soccer anymore. And that's the same thing that's going to happen in the 2026 FIFA Men's World Cup. 2026, the FIFA Men's World Cup will be co-hosted by the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The majority of matches, including the final, are scheduled to be held in the US. The day the 2026 World Cup ends is the day that North Americans won't give a fuck about soccer anymore. Now, of course, Mexicans will always give a fuck about soccer. Not as much as South Americans or Europeans, but they do love soccer more than Americans or Canadians. But the day the 2026 World Cup ends is the day that North America won't give a fuck about soccer, football anymore. That's my opinion. But like I said, the 1 month that's going to be happening, media coverage is going to be through the roof. ADP is going to be on top. Like I already said, ADP is going to be on top. Andrei Delic podcast. But the day it ends, it's going to be the same like before the World Cup. It's going to be the same as it is right now. Only people who in North America who love soccer are still going to love soccer, and the rest aren't going to give a fuck. So it is what it is. In my opinion, it's not going to change the culture in North America. It's going to be a really nice event because, as you guys know, American coverage and American media is on a whole other level. It's on a different level. It's crazy level. So I'm happy. And of course, me being Canadian and me having a football soccer podcast, like I said, I'm predicting that we're going to be one of the main podcasts for the World Cup. I'm going to be in the final, in live, watching it, commenting, analyzing, doing podcasts with top players. I'm putting it out in the universe. I'm manifesting it. But to get back to the original point is that the 2026 World Cup in North America won't have a big impact in North American sports culture or just culture in general. Let's get other topic. Okay, so this is something that, I mean, probably ever since I was young, I always debated with other people or inside of my mind. And I feel like I never had the correct answer, but hey, I'm going to give my thoughts. Should the truth always be said? When I started my podcast with Luca, first of all, Luca had the idea. Thank God, because I found one of my passions thanks to Luca. He had the idea to start a podcast because Luca listened a lot to Joe Rogan and to many other podcasts. So he had the main idea. And then when we started, I was just like, okay, let's do a podcast episode 1 and let's see what happens. After the first episode, of course, we fell in love with it, and that's why we're still doing it. But so when we started the podcast, the main goal, we didn't have a main goal. We just did it for fun. But when I started doing reality checks, as you guys know, I did many reality checks. This is number 16. When I started doing reality checks, it was for the goal to tell the truth, or at least how I perceive the world, or how I perceive the truth in the world. But through past experiences, through more rational thinking, through talking with more people, and through just living more life and having more life experiences, in the beginning of my reality checks, or when I was younger, I felt like the truth should always be said. Now, after having done 15 reality checks and now doing my 16th one, and just by being older, being 24 instead of being 24, and instead of being 22, I know it's only 2 years, but still, I feel like I grew a lot in those 2 years. I feel like maybe some things shouldn't be said, and maybe the truth isn't always the best thing to say. Now, this is how I see it. When it comes to yourself, you should always tell the truth to yourself, because that's how you're going to become a better person, and that's how you're going to evolve in life, is by always telling yourself the truth. But for your own good, sometimes it's better to lie, to do white lies, like they say. So let's say there's a girl in whatever setting, for whatever reason, asks you, do you find me fat? And now, of course, you have no intention of sleeping with her. You have no intention of wanting to get her phone number, whatever. So, but she puts you in that position, right? I'm going to lie. I would lie. Why? Because why create a hostile environment when I can just lie and then not give a fucking more and go on with my life and not have to bear that weight of her getting angry, and then now I have to deal with it. So in that situation, it's just better to lie. Do I look fat? No, you look beautiful. That's it. You go on with your life. You lied, right? Because deep down, you're like, yeah, you do look fat. So you did lie, but it's a white lie. And at the end of the day, that's her problem. If she wants to say fat. I mean, even though she asked you that question, deep down, she already knows the real answer, the truth. She already knows the truth. She just wants like validation or for you to make her feel good. But yes, you lied, but still, I mean, it's going to be better for you. So when it comes to lies, like the example I just gave, lie. That's my opinion. I'm going to lie when it comes to those examples. Hey, yo, Andrei, do you think I sing good? Yeah, bro, you sing so fucking well, man. But actually, he doesn't sing that well. Why am I going to say that? Why am I going to burst this bubble? I mean, live life, chase your dreams, do what you have to do. I'm going to live my life and chase my dreams. So when it comes to lying like that, I'm all for it. And I actually do it. Nowadays, I'm not going to lie, before doing my reality checks and before starting doing reality checks, I would say the truth, man, like bluntly. But I wouldn't like say something bad. I wouldn't say, yeah, you're a fat pig. I wouldn't say that, but I would just say like, yeah, I mean, you're fat. I would just say that. But then by living life, I'm like, maybe, it's better for myself to sometimes lie. And that's one reason, that's one way. So for those examples, I feel like it's better to lie and to tell white lies. But when it comes to yourself and to telling yourself the truth, you should never lie to yourself, because the only way you can upgrade in life and become a better version of yourself and just keep on evolving and evolving, leveling up, is by telling yourself the truth. It is what it is. That's how I see it. Maybe in 2 years, I'm going to change my opinion. I don't know. But for now, Andrei Delic is 24 years old after doing many reality checks, after doing many podcasts, after having more life experience and whatever. I feel like that's the best way to deal with, should I always tell the truth? That's my opinion, and that's my perspective regarding this question. Okay, so thoughts on people who put themselves in the public eye as public figure. Public criticism is a must. It's gonna come. It comes with a territory. If you put yourself in a public eye as a public figure, you have to be ready for public criticism, and you gotta understand that it's part of the game and that it comes with a territory. But at the end of the day, public figures are still human beings, and I feel like there should be a middle ground. So what I mean is, yes, if someone puts himself in a public eye as a public figure, I mean, bro, you cannot complain when you have public criticism. You can't complain. I mean, it comes with a territory. You know what you signed up for. It is what it is. Don't fucking complain. But at the same time, they're still human beings. I know that people, like, sometimes when you bash a celebrity, you're like, first of all, he's never going to see it. And second of all, he's a celebrity. But yeah, but he's still a human being. So in my opinion, I feel like there should be a middle ground. Like, maybe take into consideration that what you say can hurt his feelings. I understand that. And maybe, I mean, if it's just you having a different opinion or a different perspective on life, go ahead. Have all the fun you want, because you do have the right, the freedom of speech. You have the right to debate and to speak your mind. But if it's to just plainly insult him regarding, let's say, his height or his weight, whatever, maybe like a little middle ground. But at the end of the day, the public figure did put himself out in the public eye, so he has to be ready for public criticism. How I see it is, for public figures, you shouldn't give a fuck. You shouldn't give a fuck. Whatever someone says, don't even listen to it. Rub it off your shoulder. Rub the dust off your shoulder. Don't even give a fuck. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing you. But maybe for other people who spend time criticizing people who put himself in the public eye, maybe like understand that from time to time he's a public figure, like he is a human being. Personally, I don't give a fuck. I find it funny when people comment on my posts, like, and they're bashing the shit out of me. Sometimes it's, I mean, like, look, I just pull up my phone and someone commented on one of my clips. He said, "Where are you at so I can spit on you?" I mean, someone can take that personally and be all offended and get sad and get mad or whatever. I just laugh at it and I find it funny. Now, sometimes people write comments and I'm like, bro, that's the best you have. Like, you're trash at trash talking. Like, leave it for professionals like myself. Like, it's not made for you, forget about it. But some people, man, like I said, the internet stays undefeated. Some people are amazing when it comes to trash talking. Like this guy, like, this is funny. Like, it's not the best trash talk. It's not the best thing he could have said, but it's funny. Where are you at so I can spit on you? Like, bro, who even thinks of that? Who even thinks of that? Like, what? I'm supposed to text him, "Oh yeah, I'm here, pull up." He's like, "Okay, I'm pulling up." "Hey, bro, what's up?" Pooh. Like, bro, like, what the fuck? But you understand, that's funny. But to get back to my main point, people who put themselves in the public eye as public figures, take my advice. Don't give a fuck what they say. I mean, keep doing you. Keep doing what you have to do. And the best way is, like myself, just find it as entertainment. Every comment that people write, first of all, I don't see all of them. So, I mean, I don't really care. That's why I don't really see them. But from time to time, they'll pop up. And I have, like, I mean, I'm going to see it. So, of course, naturally, I'm going to read it, right? And I'm just going to be laughing because it's going to be funny as hell. But at the end of the day, man, people who put themselves in the public eye as public figures, don't give a fuck what other people think. And also for people who do write comments, whatever, me personally, I don't give a fuck. Go all you want. The more hate comments you write, the more traction you bring to my page and to me. So I'm happy. When you guys write comments or like or send or share, I'm fucking happy. Even if you guys write negative comments, I fucking love it because you're just giving more and more attention to my page, to my content, and you're giving more and more traction to my page and to my content. So I fucking love it. But for some people, they're maybe more sensitive, more emotional when it comes to that. Maybe understand that they are human beings, but it comes with a territory. If you want to put yourself in a public eye as a public figure, don't give a fuck what other people think because They're going to come for your neck, for your throat, and you got to be ready for it. If you're not built for it, don't do it. Okay, so thoughts on fat people / obese people who say that they're big boned. Do you guys know what big boned is? It has nothing to do with fat percentage, nothing. It's just like some people will have bigger heads, will have bigger hands, bigger bones. Like some people can't do this with their wrists, so completely take their wrists. So I'm not big boned, right? You guys can see it. I'm in shape. I'm not fat. I have muscles, but when it comes to bones, I'm not big boned. Some people can't do it. Some people are like this. I can do like this. That's what big boned is. I don't have big hands really. I know Donald Trump, he's like, oh, look at my hands. They're not small. I don't have big hands. I feel like I don't really have small hands, but I'm not big boned. I don't have a big head or whatever. But some people have big heads, big hands, big feet, big bone. They can't do this or whatever. That's what being big boned is. But when it comes to being in shape or having a six pack, not being fat, that has nothing to do with the density of your bones. Nothing. I feel like it's just an excuse that fat people say, oh, I'm not fat, I'm big boned. You guys don't understand what big boned is, right? I just explained it. That's what big boned is. When you have fat, it has nothing to do with bones. It's just you have extra fat. You can be small boned and have big muscles. That means that your bones aren't big, your frame isn't big. I don't have the biggest frame. I don't have the smallest frame. I feel like I'm in the middle, but I have muscles. I don't have fat. And I'm not big boned, as to say. But you can be small boned and have big muscles. You can be big boned and have small muscles. You can be small boned and have small muscles. You can be big boned and have big muscles. There's all types of varieties. But having a high fat percentage has nothing to do with the density of your bones. Now, guys, it is how it is. You can get mad. You're just getting mad at the truth. I'm saying the truth. Fat percentage has nothing to do with bone density. Nothing. Okay, next topic. Losing weight. Talking about weight and whatever. Losing weight is simple. If you spend more calories than you take, you're going to lose weight. Now, we can dissect that into more categories. But the broad term and the general term is if you want to lose weight, you have to burn more calories than you consume. It's as simple as that. If you burn more calories than you consume, you'll be in a calorie deficit, which means you'll lose weight. Now you can lose muscle and fat by eating less and moving more. Now, if you want to lose more fat and gain muscle, that means you got to move more. You train more, run, whatever. But if you want bigger muscle, you got to train more, eat a lot of protein, eat very healthy and eat a lot of protein and eat less calories than you spend. So let's say you spend 2,000 calories a day. You got to eat, depends on how many calories you want to spend a day, you want to lose a day. If you want to lose, let's say 200 calories, then you got to eat 1,800 calories. And out of those 1,800 calories, there has to be a lot of grams of protein, not too many grams of fat, and a certain healthy amount of complex carbs, which comes from vegetables, which comes from brown bread, which comes from fruit, all of that sort. Those are complex carbs. Those are good carbs. Also from nuts, whatever, those are good carbs. Bad carbs, white bread, pasta, pizza, those are bad carbs. I think we all pretty much know it. So if you want to lose weight, lose fat, and gain muscle, you got to spend more than you consume, eat a lot of protein, and eat very healthy. That's how it is. If you want to gain weight, but it's all by muscles and not fat, so you have to eat more than you spend. You have to go to the gym, lift weights, destroy your muscle fibers. So you have to destroy your muscle fibers. Then you have to eat more calories than you spend. And most of those calories have to come from protein and complex carbs and a certain amount of healthy fats like olive oil and other fats. Those are healthy fats. So if you want to gain weight, but only muscle weight, So you have to, first of all, lift a lot of weights, lift low reps. So you go more for strength with lower reps. And then you want to eat more calories than you spend. But those calories cannot be donuts, cannot be simple carbs, cannot be pizza, cannot be McDonald's, cannot be Burger King. It has to be healthy food, more than you spend. It has to be mainly protein and complex carbs. And of course fats. But it has to come a lot from healthy food, healthy carbs, healthy proteins, and healthy fats. But you have to eat more than you spend if you want to gain weight throughout more muscle mass. That's how it is, guys. It's as simple as that. I gave you a blueprint. Now, what's hard, it's not the blueprint. You can learn everything that I know just by Googling it and reading for 5 minutes. You're going to learn everything I know about fitness. It's not that hard. What's hard is doing it. What's hard is executing it. What's hard is being consistent. What's hard is never giving up. And what's even harder is doing it for years and years and years, day after day, step by step, never giving up. And just doing it day after day, day after day, being consistent and never giving up. Consistency always wins the race. As you guys know, the tale of the turtle versus the hare. The hare is way faster than the turtle, but the turtle is all about consistency. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. And that's why he won the race. Consistency always wins the race over intensity. Now, of course, there's also a time for intensity, like Firas Zahabi said, but in general, consistency is always the main focus and is always the one that wins the race. So everything I just told you guys, you can easily Google it, but the hard part is doing it and putting it into practice and actually getting off your fat, lazy asses and fucking doing it. That's the hardest part. Next topic. Okay, so as you guys know, sometimes when I Google quotes, because I want to talk about quotes on my reality checks, I Google quotes from famous people, right? But then I wonder, how many famous people do we know and associate some quotes to famous people, but actually they heard that quote from someone else who isn't famous. They heard that quote from maybe their parents, their grandparents, one of their friends, or one of their co-workers, or one of their Bible study guys, or whatever. But since they're the one with clout, they're the ones who are famous, we attribute that quote to him. But deep down, that quote, maybe some other guy said it before he did, probably that already happened because everything has already been said. Like humans have existed for like hundreds of thousands of years. Everything has already been said. So I feel like there are some quotes that we attribute to a famous person, but he didn't invent that quote. He heard it from someone else. But since he has clout and he has fame, we say that's his quote. I just out of curiosity, I wonder how many people that's the case and how many times that is actually the case, but since the other person isn't famous, we'll never give a fuck about him and we'll never associate that quote with him. And not only when it comes to quotes, when it comes to many other things like doing something, maybe like a dance move, maybe someone who's really famous, like let's see Chris Brown. Maybe Chris Brown, who's an amazing dancer, phenomenal dancer, maybe when he went to the hood, for whatever reason, maybe he saw a guy dancing in the hood who isn't famous, who no one gives a fuck about. He saw him do a move and he's like, oh, that's a really good move. And then he did it on stage. He did it in front of a camera. He did it in front of millions of people. And now we say, oh, that's a Chris Brown move. But actually, Chris Brown saw it from that guy. Now I'm just giving an example. I don't know if that actually happened with Chris Brown. I don't really follow his shit. I don't really care. But I'm just giving an example. And I wonder how many times those sort of things happen. But since that guy doesn't have clout, and maybe that guy does that move even better than Chris Brown, but Chris Brown did it in front of millions of people, and now they say, oh, that's Chris Brown move. That's Chris Brown's move, and that's the Chris Brown move or whatever. I'm just curious. I'm pretty sure that happens a lot because, like it or not, Chris Brown, he's a normal human being, just like us. By living life, we see some people doing something, we hear people say something interesting, and then maybe we later on say it and then we forget that someone else said it or whatever, or maybe we even remember but we just like don't give props. But especially if you're famous, I mean, I feel like you can easily do it. You hear someone say something at the bar who's a random guy. He said something while he was drunk, but it was actually really smart. You take that and then you say it on a podcast, like in Logan Paul's podcast, because you're really famous and he invited you. Then you say it and then now it's, oh, what a good ass quote from that guy. But actually that guy heard from someone else. That's life, but I just wonder how many times those sort of things happen. Or maybe let's say when someone When a big director has an idea for a movie, maybe he heard that idea from someone, from a random guy at film school who never accomplished anything but had like good ideas. He took his idea. Oh, you're not gonna do it? That's an amazing idea. Let me do it. Then he goes on and does it, and we're like, oh my god, what a fucking great idea that the director had. And of course, maybe he's never gonna talk about it. He's gonna say yes, thanks everybody. But he actually saw it from him. But I think there's also an art and a talent to recognizing when something is good. So of course, maybe let's say Chris Brown took that move from that guy, but he still had like the knowledge and the talent and like the skills to see that's really good. Let me take it. I feel like there's also a talent and a skill set to identifying what's good, what has potential, and making something great out of it. So of course, I don't blame famous people who do that, but because there's also a talent and a skill set to acknowledging and to recognizing what has potential and what is good. Okay, next topic. Yes, this is a fact. I heard it on a TV show, 2.5 Men, but it's a fucking fact. The hotter a woman is, the more lonely she is. And the reason why is because the less men approach her, because they're too scared to approach her. So first time that I heard this was I was watching 2.5 Men with Charlie Sheen. And for people who don't know, in that TV show, Charlie Sheen is like this womanizer. I mean, he's a womanizer in real life, but he's also a womanizer in the TV show. And then he was sitting at a table with his brother. I forgot what's his name? Martin? Charlie? No, I forgot his name, but his brother and his son. And he said to his brother and his son, he said, the hotter a woman is, the more lonely she is, because men approach her less because they're too afraid to approach her. When he said that, I'm like, yo, bro, that's a big fucking fact. Because we all think that the hotter a woman is, man must constantly approach her. Man must constantly flooding her DMs with hey, babe, what's up? What you doing? Let's go on a date, whatever. And we feel like she's untouchable and that she has so much attention from man. But actually, if you think about it rationally, and this comes from Charlie Sheen, who's a big womanizer, so he has a lot of experience. This makes a lot of sense and it makes a lot of logical sense. Of course, the hotter a woman is, if you're with your friend groups, with your friends, and you see a woman that's really hot, we're all going to be a little bit intimidated by her. That's normal. So at the end of the day, there's more chances of none of us approaching her. But if we do that, and then another guy with his friend group does that, and then another guy with his friend group thinks the same and does the same, at the end of the day, no one's approaching her, right? I mean, put yourself in her shoes. She's there, right? A woman has to, in general, men approach women. Sometimes women approach men, but in like 99% of the time, it's a man who approaches a woman. She's just gonna sit there and wait for who's gonna approach her and then see the potential candidates and then choose from them. But like I said, to come back to my point, if me and my friends don't approach her because we're intimidated by her looks, if another guy and his friends don't approach her because they're also intimidated by her and by her looks, then at the end of the day, no one's approaching her, right? If you think about it logically and rationally, no one's approaching her. That's a fucking fact. So that's why I feel like many times you can see a bombshell, a 10 out of 10 woman, a baddie, a hottie, whatever slang you use, whatever term you use, and you see him with a guy who's way below her league, but they're together. Why? Because that's the only guy who had the balls to approach her. And at the end of the day, the woman, if there's only one guy or if there's only 3-4 guys who approaches her, she can only choose from 3-4 guys if she has no intentions of approaching guys that she likes, right? So let's say a woman, a bombshell, a hottie, like I said, has no intentions of approaching a man. That's out of the window, out of the question. There's no way she's gonna approach a man. Okay, then her only choices are the men who approach her. And if there's only 2-3 guys who approach her and they're all below her league, but somehow they have the balls or whatever, she has to choose one of those 2 or 3, right? She has to choose one of those 3 guys. And she's going to choose who she sees as the best fit or who she likes the most, right? So it is what it is. So guys, if you see a fucking bombshell, if you see a hottie, If you see a baddie, don't be afraid to approach her, because maybe no one's going to approach her that night, and maybe that's going to like give you way more chances of you bagging her, of you getting her in for a date or for a one-night stand or whatever. But you're going to have way more chances. The more balls you have, there's way more chance of you getting her, and it is what it is. But if you think about it rationally and logically, Charlie Sheen is right, man. The hotter she is, the more lonely she is, because less men approach her, and the reason they approach her less is because they're all intimidated by her. Okay, next topic. Okay, so guys, I'm Canadian, born and raised, proud, but guys, we have to say it how it is. One of the gayest moments in Canadian history is when many Canadians wanted to ban Eminem, Slim Shady, one of the goats of rap, to enter Canada so he can perform, because they said that his lyrics are too sexist, too homophobic, or whatever. I mean, first of all, Eminem is an artist. He expresses himself through art. He's just rapping. For people who don't know, Eminem, Slim Shady, he loved to talk trash. There was never really any big meaning behind it. He just loves to have fun and say whatever. But that was one of the gayest moments in Canadian history, is when many Canadians wanted to ban Eminem from entering Canada so he can perform. So now let me give you some detail behind what happened. In the year 2000, the year I was born, Canadian officials attempted to prevent Eminem from performing in Toronto due to concerns about his lyrics promoting violence against women. However, their efforts to ban him were unsuccessful. Of course, I think he's too big to ban, just like Joe Rogan. He got caught on multiple podcasts saying the N-word, but he's too big to cancel. Same goes for Eminem. Like, Eminem is the Joe Rogan of rap, or is Joe Rogan the Eminem of podcasting, whatever, but they're two goats of podcasting and of rapping. However, their efforts to ban him were unsuccessful, and he was able to perform the scheduled concert. The Ontario Attorney General Jim Flaherty had argued that Eminem's lyrics were so violent toward women that he shouldn't be allowed to perform in Canada. Jim Flaherty, you're gay. I mean, that's a gay-ass take. That's a gay claim. I mean, and also Eminem has never beaten up a woman. He only talks about beating up women in his rap songs. I think he talks mostly about beating up Kim, his ex-wife, and his mother. I'm not really sure. I don't really remember. But he never actually did it. So, I mean, already there, actions speak louder than words. If he never did it, that means he isn't a guy who beats women, who beats up women. So that's the most important part. And of course, he has the right to express himself through art or through whatever. I express myself through podcasts. He expressed himself through his raps and through his songs. Where was I? The Globe and Mail reported that the government was looking into ways to stop Eminem from entering Canada. But this was not a successful attempt. At a United States Senate hearing, Lynn Cheney criticized Eminem and sponsors Seagram for promoting violence and most degrading kind against women, labeling him as a rap singer who advocates murder and rape. In his rap song, he does talk about murdering his wife, Kim, his ex-wife, and murdering other people or raping women, whatever. He does talk about it. I remember which specific rap he's talking about. But at the end of the day, he doesn't do it. His actions speak louder than words. He doesn't do it. That's his way of expressing himself. Why? I don't know. He's an artsy guy. He's an artist. Every artist has a certain way of expressing himself. Labeling him as a rap singer who advocates murder and rape. She specifically cited lyrics from the song Kill You, explaining he talks about murdering and raping his mother. He talks about choking women slowly so he can hear their screams for a long time. He talks about using OJ's machete on women. Yo, Eminem is crazy, bro. Yo, Slim Shady, Eminem. Like, for me, you're one of the GOATs. I'm a big Eminem fan, Eminem stan. I love you, but bro, your lyrics, I find it amusing. I find it funny. I would never do it. I find it stupid for people who would listen to his lyrics and then say, yo, Eminem wants me to do it, so let me go do it. You're just a mentally challenged people. If you think that way, go seek mental help. I mean, it's just how it is. But Eminem, bro, you're so fucking, you're so crazy, man. He talks about using OJ's machete on women. And this is a man who is honored by the recording industry. The reason he's so honored is because, first of all, he sells so many records. He's such a talented singer, such a talented rapper. That's why he's so honored. On October 26, 2000, Eminem was set to perform at a concert in Toronto's Sky Dome. However, Ontario Attorney General Jim Flaherty argued that Canada should stop Eminem at the border. I personally don't want anyone coming to Canada who will come here and advocate violence against women, he said. Flaherty claims to have been disgusted when reading transcriptions of Kill You, the song Kill You, which includes lines like slut, you think, now I'm quoting Eminem, slut, you think I won't choke no whore till the vocal cords don't work in her throat no more. Hey, yo, this is some good ass rhyme. Now, I don't agree with what he said. He also doesn't agree with it. He just said it so it rhymes. He said it for artistic purposes, for rap purposes, but he's good. Like, he's a very good rapper. Slut, you won't take, I won't choke no whore till the vocal cords don't work in her throat no more. Eminem's fans argued that this was a matter of free speech and that he was unfairly singled out. Eminem was later granted entry into Canada. Now, of course, it is free speech, and especially him, man. It's not like he says it on a podcast that all women should get beaten up and raped, whatever. He says it on a song. We all know that on songs, rappers cap. Every single rapper caps on his songs when it comes to Future, Eminem, Young Thug, Lil Baby, whoever, 50 Cent, whatever. They all talk about how they're gonna kill their ops, how they get many bitches, how they're gonna cheat on their baby mamas. Even though most of them, maybe not most of them, I don't know what's the percentage, but many of them don't cheat on their women. Many of them don't kill their ops or do illegal stuff. But they talk about doing illegal stuff on their songs, right? Selling dope, having connections with Pablo Escobar, or what was the lyric with Rick Ross? I know Pablo Noriega, the real Noriega, he owes me 100 favors. I mean, we all know Rick Ross didn't know Noriega personally. Noriega was a general warlord in Panama. He was like a military leader in Panama who also did a lot of illegal stuff with cocaine and Pablo, whatever. And he said in his songs, like, I know Noriega personally, he owes me 100 favors. That's all cap. We all know it's a fact. We all know it's capping. Rick Ross was capping about him knowing Noriega, whatever. It's cap. So guys, don't take what rappers say so literally. They're only expressing themselves. They're maybe creating an image, whatever. They're artists, right? They have the right, they have the freedom of speech, and they have the right to create art how they see fit, right? As long as they don't do anything illegal, or as long as they don't do anything illegal, like I said, actions speak louder than words, they should have the right to express themselves fully through their art or through whatever media they want. So this is something I found funny. So, right, I have nothing against Islam and against Muslim people, nothing. I have many friends who are Muslims and whatever. But I just find it funny that I see nowadays so many people from the LGBTQ community, so many woke leftists defending Islam and Muslims the most. I mean, isn't Islam like the most sexist religion on planet Earth? Isn't it the most homophobic religion on planet Earth? I am a big advocate for all women's rights and all LGBTQ rights. I feel like all human beings, we're all equal, we're all the same, we should all have the same rights. But people, not everyone who's Muslim, but Islam in general, in the Middle East world, the Middle Eastern world, they're very sexist towards women, very degrading towards women. They're very homophobic towards transgenders, bisexuals, homosexuals, or anyone who isn't heterosexual. They're very degrading and very homophobic. So I find it very, very funny and very stupid to see woke people, leftists, and people from the LGBTQ community, or to see women, or to see whoever defending Islam and Muslims the most in the Western world. I mean, like I said, that religion is very homophobic, very degrading towards people who aren't heterosexual, very degrading towards the LGBTQ community. Very violent also. I mean, not just verbally, but also physically. They're very violent in some parts of the Middle Eastern world towards LGBTQ community, towards women's. towards women and towards women's rights. They're very violent physically. So like, it's like me defending a guy, and it's like me helping a guy who wants to kill me. It's like, doesn't make sense. It's like, imagine there's a guy who comes to Canada and says, vote for me as prime minister, and I will make all Serbian Canadians slaves. And then I go vote for him. Like, what the fuck? I'm going to vote for a guy who wants to make a slave out of me? Like, that would be really like stupid of my part, right? So that's why I'm so like surprised to see so many people from the LGBTQ community vote. I'm not vote, but support Muslims and support Islam, because, or to see women or to see lefties, because it's like the complete opposite of you guys. And not only is it the complete opposite, and not only do they think completely different from the way you guys think, they fucking hate you guys. They hate you guys, and they're disgusted by your behavior, and they're disgusted by women having rights. They're disgusted by women and being empowered and having the same rights as men. Now, not all Muslims think this way. Many Muslims don't think this way, but it's a fact that many people in the Middle Eastern world who still live in the Arabian world under Muslim law think that way. It's a fact, man. Okay, next topic. Oh yeah, so of course, guys, this is more about relationships with other human beings. But the more you have, the more people will want to bring you down. It's just human nature. It's normal. But you shouldn't care if people want to bring you down. If you're winning, that's what matters. The more you get in life, that's what matters. You leveling up, you reaching your goals, you accomplishing your dreams. That's what matters. Don't really care what other people think. Don't take it too personally when people want to bring you down. People who hate on you are people who have less than you, or are people who feel intimidated by you. So if someone hates on you, if someone brings you down, it's out of a place of jealousy, out of envy. They're doing it because if someone has more than you, or if they're doing better than you in life, they're never going to bring you down. They're only going to help you, and they're only going to motivate you to do better and to reach more goals and to accomplish more your dreams. But when someone hates on you, just know that it comes from a place of hurt. They're hurting inside. It comes from a place of pain. It comes from a place of jealousy and envy. So don't take it too personally. The main goal in life is to level up, is to reach your goals, is to accomplish as much as you can, and is to keep going no matter what happens. That's the most important. But of course, you got to understand, the more you have, the more people are going to come for your neck. The more they're going to try to bring you down. And I know that nowadays there's the term, it's nerfing someone. The more they're going to try to nerf someone. It's been a while. Okay, let's keep going. Fun fact. This is a fun fact. People who don't speak or understand English can't differentiate between different English accents, like UK accent, Southern American accent, Eastern American accent, or Australian English accent, whatever. Just as much as we people who don't speak or understand Spanish, we cannot differentiate between Spanish accents, right? For my friends who speak Spanish or Latino, they tell me that the way Argentinians speak Spanish and the way Brazilians speak Spanish and the way people from Spain speak Spanish, it's all different, right? Different accents. Just as much as we in Canada have a different way of speaking French or English, just as much as people in France have a different way of speaking French than people in Canada, Quebecois, just as much as people from the UK have a different way of speaking English than people in Canada and than people in America or Australia. Same goes for people who speak Spanish. But since we don't understand or speak Spanish, we cannot differentiate between different Spanish accents just as much as people who don't speak or understand English can't differentiate between different English accents. I find that funny because in my mind, I mean, it's so easy to know who's from the UK, who's from South America, southern United States, like Mississippi, Texas, whatever, just through their accent, right? Or from Australia. But when I think about it, it makes sense. Just as much as I can differentiate someone who speaks Spanish from Argentina or from Brazil, not from Brazil, they speak Portuguese, from Colombia or from Spain, Venezuela, Mexico, whatever, it's the same logic, right? So I felt like that was just like a little fun fact that I wanted to talk about. But because I never really thought about it, but when someone brought up that, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense, like, right? It makes sense. Okay, so what else I want to talk about? People, yeah, let's keep this for me for another episode. You can celebrate this. Other episode. La, 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 la. Okay, so you know what? Let's jump into entertainment. I want to talk more about politics, society, philosophy, whatever. But you know what? Let me keep it for another episode. Okay, so here. Reality check number 17. Yeah, I'm going to keep it for another episode. Yeah, let's jump right into entertainment. So I want to talk about movies. Since I'm a big movie fan, I love movies a lot. I'm a big movie fan. I love movies more than I love TV shows. I love TV shows also. I'm a big TV show fan also. But I'm more into movies. So there are some movies that I think I want to talk about and say my thoughts. So recently, I rewatched the movie Click with Adam Sandler with a remote control. He can control his life, right? With his remote control, he can fast forward, go back, or whatever. But that movie made me realize that even when there are some hard times in your lives, when something bad's happening, you still want to live through it because that's life. And life, every second of life is worth living. And that movie, he skips past like bad things. Like, you know what? Oh, you got to work harder. At work, he has like a lot of job to do before he gets a promotion. Then he's like, let me just skip all the work and then get to the time where I get a promotion. But let's say in that 6 month time period, let's say it takes 6 months of him doing that work and then getting the promotion. He missed a lot of things happening at home with his kids, with his wife, at work, maybe with his friends, whatever. But he lost 6 months, right? Just because he didn't want to do the work. But even if something is bad in life, you're going through a tough time, you're living through a tough time in your life, it's still worth living, man. Life is worth living no matter what happens, good or bad. Life is worth living, man. So like that movie made me realize that even when I have something to do and I'm like, oh my God, it's going to take so much time. It's going to be so boring. I'm like, but at least I get the chance to live life because so many people don't get a chance to live life. And I'm actually, after seeing that movie, it opened my eyes to like, even if I had the possibility of skipping through something that I don't have, like let's say finishing my undergrad, I'm like, bro, it's going to be 4 years and I'm going to finish it. I'm finishing it. It's over. But I would have been like, let me skip those 4 years and let me get my degree. But in those 4 years, I lived so many experiences. I had so much fun with my friends, ups and downs with friends, with family members, professional life and my career, chasing my dreams, going to the gym, whatever, that nothing should be worthwhile skipped. Even if it's something bad, nothing is worth getting skipped if you had the remote control that he had in the movie. I mean, we're never going to have it. It's never going to happen. But it opened my eyes and it made me realize that even when bad things are happening in life and when something bad is happening, it's still worth living and that we should always be grateful that we have the chance to live through it and that we have the chance to experience more life, to experience life. Some people don't even have the chance to experience life, good or bad. We're just lucky, even if something bad is happening, we're just lucky that we have the chance to experience this beautiful thing that we call life. Next topic. Thoughts on the Seinfeld show about nothing and why it's the greatest sitcom show of all time. It is, man. The Seinfeld show, the show about nothing, however you call it, is the greatest sitcom show of all time and is the greatest TV show of all time. Nothing comes close to it, in my opinion. When it comes to drama TV shows, my favorite TV show is The Sopranos. I feel like it's the greatest drama show of all time. But if we put all TV shows together, Seinfeld is by far the greatest TV show of all time. I feel like nothing's gonna dethrone it. I feel like it's perfect, as much as perfect as something can get. I feel like no TV show is ever gonna dethrone it. Their Seinfeld show has ran for 10 years, 9 episodes, 9 seasons, 180 episodes in total. But I like Seinfeld show is just goated, man. Nothing's gonna top it. Nothing ever is gonna be better than the Seinfeld show, in my opinion. It's better than The Sopranos. Like The Sopranos for me is the greatest drama TV show of all time, but the greatest TV show of all time is Seinfeld. For me, it's a show about nothing. Like in the beginning, when he pitched that idea to TV producers, they all thought it was such a stupid idea. Because of course, imagine you're going to a meeting and you want to pitch your TV show and someone asks you, what is it going to be about? It's going to be about nothing. About nothing. Of course, your rational mind is going to say that's the stupidest idea ever, right? What do you mean a show about nothing? Like, it makes no sense. And it's a fact. NBC laughed at him. TV producers laughed at him, said it makes no sense. You're never going to have success with it. Fast forward, it's the greatest TV show of all time. What a genius idea, actually. It's like, and Seinfeld's so humble about it. He says that it's not only because he had this great idea, it's like everything coming perfectly together. Him meeting David Lade, who is the co-producer of the TV show, him and Jerry Seinfeld, they wrote it together. Jerry Seinfeld and not David Lade. Jesus Christ, that's a fucking fitness influencer. What's his name? The guy who Seinfeld show. What's his name, man? Larry David Lade. Larry, it's similar, right? Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David are the two guys, right, who produced that TV show, who came up with the TV show, and who wrote that TV show. Of course, it's more Jerry Seinfeld's show, and that's why the last 2 seasons, Larry David wasn't there because he left, because it was, first of all, it was a lot of work, and it wasn't his TV show, right? So he wasn't as motivated as Jerry Seinfeld was, because that's literally his TV show. But to come back to my main argument and my main point, it's the greatest TV show of all time. It, like, when you think about it rationally, it makes sense. Like, a show about nothing, right? Like everyday activities, something that can happen in everyday life. It makes sense now when it's been proven to have a lot of success. Now it makes sense. But if you go back to when they had the idea, the original idea, all of us would have said it makes no sense, because who comes up with a TV show and calls it the show about nothing? Like, right, every TV show has a purpose. Breaking Bad, Sopranos, every TV show has a purpose, but he came up with it. How about the show about nothing? And it just ended up being the greatest TV show of all time. In my opinion, nothing is ever going to top that TV show. It's going to end up, it is right now the GOAT of all TV shows, and it's going to end up being forever and ever the GOAT of all TV shows. And I watched it twice completely, and I fucking love it. Like, it's a TV show. And also what's good about that TV show is, since there isn't like a main purpose, a main storyline, you can always rewatch that TV show, right? You can always rewatch it. Let's say Breaking Bad. I know what happens at the end. He dies. Spoiler alert. I'm sorry, but at the end he dies. Like, I know everything, so I'm going to be less tempted to watch it again. Now, of course, Breaking Bad, in my opinion, just after Seinfeld and The Sopranos, it's the 3rd greatest TV show of all time. So I could rewatch it, but I'm going to be less tempted than the Seinfeld show, because Seinfeld show, since there's no like main idea, main concept, main storyline, I can easily rewatch it and rewatch it and rewatch it. I mean, the TV show ended in 1999. They aired their last episode. 2025, I'm watching it. And I wasn't even born when they aired their last TV show. I wasn't even born. But even I watched it like twice. And I'm still watching it to this day. Like, after this, I'm going to go home and watch it. Like, that's how good it is. But I feel like, man, that TV show, man, and that idea, like I said, it gives you the possibility to rewatch it many, many times, man. What a TV show. I'm going to keep this for later. Yeah, you know what? Actually, yeah, I am. Okay, so let's talk about Sinners movie. You know what? Yeah, let me talk about a Sinners movie, because, guys, I watched it, the movie Sinners, with, what's his name? Fucking Michael B. Jordan. And who's the other white guy who was there? I forgot his name, but there was a white guy playing the devil, right? He's playing the devil in that movie. And before I watched it, I heard so many people on social media talking about it like if it's fucking the next greatest movie of all time. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I have to watch the movie. Like, I watched the trailer. I'm like, okay, it looks good. Good actors, right? It looks good. The story looks good. It looks interesting. Let me watch it. After watching it, now, before I give my thoughts on the movie and before I give my rating, let me just show you what the official ratings are for the Sinners movie. So, it's considered a horror/adventure movie. IMDb gave that movie a rating of 8.1 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gave a 97% rating. 97? Rotten Tomatoes, I'm going to cut it right here. That's fucking crazy. 97%. That movie is good, but 97% is fucking ludicrous. It's blasphemous, and it makes no fucking sense. That's not No. Rotten Tomatoes, that's too much. And Letterboxd gave the movie a rating of 4.2 out of 5. So let me give you an Andrei Delic rating, right? So out of 10, IMDb is pretty spot on. I would give it 8.1 makes sense. IMDb gave them a 8.1 out of 10 rating. That makes sense. IMDb. I agree with the 8.1 out of 10 rating. But Rotten Tomatoes, 97%. Like I said, IMDb should be the same. It should be 81%. 81% makes sense. And Letterboxd, 4.2 out of 5. That's like an 8.4 out of 10. So that's pretty much spot on. But Rotten Tomato, that makes no sense. And guys on social media who talk about Sinners like being a 10 out of 10 movie, being the greatest movie of all time, chill the fuck out, bro. It's a good movie. It's a really good movie. Like I said, it's an 8.1 out of 10. It's a really good rating. 8.1 out of 10 is a really, really good rating. Like, don't get it twisted. It's a really good rating. But it's not a 9.5 out of 10. It's not a Casino. It's not a Goodfellas. It's not a Shawshank Redemption. It's not a The Departed. It's not a Snatch. It's not a Pulp Fiction. It's not a Django Unchained. It's not a Inglourious Bastards. It's not a two Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. There's so many movies better than that one that a rating higher than 8.1 is too much. Now, of course, the movie, could I rewatch it a second time? Yeah, maybe I could a second time. But after that, I couldn't watch it like three, 4 times. Like, I watched it once at cinema. Watching movies at cinema, it's way better. It's way cooler. But I could watch it a second time. You know what? Fuck it. I could watch it a second time. But after that, man, I couldn't. Ain't no way I could watch it a third time. If someone was to put a gun to my head, I'm like, bro, fucking pull that trigger because I'm not watching it a third time. That's too much, man. Fuck, bro. It's a good movie, but let's not fucking boost, bro. Okay, so you know what, guys? Let's do I have some fun facts regarding nature here that I really find interesting. I hope you guys find it interesting also. Okay, so guys, 10 fun facts about nature. First fun fact, some plants can count and do basic math. Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Some plants can count and do basic math. The Venus flytrap and pitcher plant regulate how often they close or digest based on stimulation. Even more impressively, the Arabidopsis plant can budget its starch use overnight, showing signs of basic arithmetic. Jesus Christ. Second fun fact about nature. Octopuses have 3 hearts. 2 pump blood to the gills, while a third pumps it to the rest of the body. Even wilder, when they swim, the heart that delivers blood to the body stops beating. Third fun fact about nature. Trees can talk to each other. Through underground fungal networks, trees exchange nutrients and send warning signals about pests and diseases. This is sometimes called the Wood Wide Web. Shit, that makes sense. Wood Wide Web. Fourth fun fact about nature. The Amazon rainforest produces 20% of the world's oxygen. This one I knew. It's often referred to as the lungs of the planet for its role in absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen. 5. A single honeybee can visit up to 5,000 flowers in one day. Jesus Christ, 5,000 flowers in one day? 5,000 divided by 24. 208 flowers an hour. Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Sixth fun fact about nature. There's a jellyfish that can potentially live forever. Turritopsis dohrnii, known as the immortal jellyfish, can revert to its polyp stage after reaching maturity, essentially restarting its life cycle. The fuck? Seventh fun fact. Sea otters hold hands while sleeping. Oh, this is cute. To keep from drifting apart in the water, sea otters often hold hands when they sleep. They sometimes wrap themselves in kelp to stay anchored as well. Eighth fun fact. Lightning strikes Earth about 100 times every second. That's roughly 8.6 million lightning strikes per day, many of which happen over oceans and uninhabited areas. That's why we don't hear about them or see them. Ninth fun fact. Lake Baikal in Siberia holds 20% of the world's unfrozen fresh water. Jesus Christ. It's the world's deepest and oldest freshwater lake, home to unique species found nowhere else on Earth. And the 10th fun fact, last fun fact, a snail can sleep for up to 3 years. Some desert snails can enter a state of extended hibernation, allowing them to survive extreme conditions until moisture returns. Crazy. Guys, that was it for this reality check. See you next time. Peace out.